Hello, I'm Lisa and welcome to Philosophically Speaking. Here we are today, the 29th of December 2024. As we stand on a precipice of change, let us take a closer look at the seal, the anointed and the condemned. Topics that have sparked much debate throughout history, filled with complexities, exploring the possibilities of to whom, where, and when your destiny may be defined in the coming period. With such terms, the primary perspective has often been biblical, particularly within the book of Revelations, where the seal scroll is depicted as a divine plan and or decree that is hidden to be opened at an appointed time. In contrast, the anointed biblically refers to those chosen by God for a special purpose, while the condemned are those judged by God. But many questions surround not only the bibliography of these references, but also their origins, translations, and interpretations. The Bible is often regarded as one of the most referenced, manipulated, and exploited texts to date. It could also be said that the Bible holds some keys to understanding our existence. But then, what are the original writings, and who has the correct interpretation? For such a book to be fragmented across various narratives, locations, and authors, it also raises the question: if we are living in a world largely defined by illusions, what are the facts behind a book that claims to be both confirmation of the origins of humanity and foretell its future? Doesn't this challenge everything that has been indexed, interpreted, and used to mold narratives, whether factual or not? It is also quite evident that the Bible frequently references earthly realms and off-world locations, as well as heavenly hosts and God. If we find confirmation in these references, we may uncover that terms like off-world locations are essentially synonym for extraterrestrial, while heavenly hosts may refer to both extraterrestrial and extraterritorial jurisdiction, and an unseen God to an all-seeing cosmic entity. If we truly seek to understand the nuts and bolts of the matter, these concepts might lead us to question even deeper. Let's touch upon the seal. The seal represents a divine plan, one that will be opened at an appointed time. It is said that there are 7 seals. Now, thinking outside of the box for a moment, some scientific researchers propose that we've already experienced at least 5 cataclysmic biotic crises, and we may currently be in the 6th. You can reference this edition CNN.com 2023-12-23 World Mass Extinctions Explained. Could there be any truth to this? By cross-referencing the Bible concept of the seal with the idea of a cataclysmic biotic crisis, have we reached an epoch where terrestrial, extraterrestrial, and cosmic entities will collectively play a role? Does this mean that at some point we will witness the opening of the seal in its entirety? And if so, what will this look like? While the format and interpretation of how the seal may function and by what means it is to be revealed may be debated, could the seal also refer to a biological form? If the seal indeed has a biological reference, what form has it taken? Keeping within the notion that the seal represents a divine mark, the mark of a god or gods waiting to be unsealed at an appointed time, could the container of the seal in fact be a person and or persons? And if, for instance, the container of the seal is a person, not only would that be a mind-blowing concept, but also a very clever way to observe and accumulate the necessary information from within our environment, with the ultimate goal of releasing whatever must be released to aid the process of judgment. This compels us to consider whether this is a single complete seal, or if there are fragmented pieces scattered across the globe, perhaps cleverly placed within biological forms, both of the anointed and unanointed, gathering information to be calibrated into one ultimate seal, which will then be opened at the appointed time. Excuse me. This leads us to question, have we, like our predecessors, had more than enough time and opportunities to experience, harmonize, and get it right, as well as with the earth and the cosmos? Have we now reached or run our course, triggering the need for a new form of existence to be re-established on earth? What could this encounter look like? A return to prior forms, and if so, which form? Or could it be a combination of both? Despite the human population being at its highest in history, and with countless opportunities to grow and make peace with one another, could our current status indicate that our cycle is coming to an end, perhaps serving as the catalyst for the biotic crisis, and therefore the opening of the seal? If so, one can only presume that humanity will face accountability and judgment based on the patterns within this epoch of history, from those who oversee and direct the cosmos. Excuse me. Considering past events, remnants of a previous species related to us, though potentially distant, would have had to exist to be introduced or even reintroduced to facilitate the continuation of life on Earth. Then if, according to biblical texts, whether directly or indirectly related to our current species, or even extending to the extraterrestrial realms, it could be said that these remnants of a previous species are not only echoes of both terrestrial and extraterrestrial evolution, but also divine markers guiding us toward the next incarnation of life, our relative species. Can these markers also suggest that what lies ahead may involve not only the emergence of a new physical species, but also the return of our progenitors, signaling a convergence of the physical and cosmic realms? When the seal is opened, will this act as the beginning of revelations, triggering the unfolding of that is what to come? And with this, could our relatives be revealing themselves and returning, raising the question, which version is incoming, and who, if at all, am I related to, and what will be my accountability to them? It may be true that not everyone will witness what would in effect be a disclosure, a monumental event that may leave you with a haunting feeling as it unfolds. There is no doubt that if this is the direction things are heading, one of the biggest aspects will be the accountability and therefore judgment. Perhaps some will witness the physical manifestations of evolution, while others experience a spiritual awakening. Either way, there is far more to this narrative, with each version potentially playing out a role in humanity's next chapter. With the biblical references to the 7 seals, when cross-referenced with the possibility that we are amidst the 6th cataclysmic biotic crisis, a complex and multifaceted framework emerges, one that may not only reveal truth, but also connects and converges the spiritual, earthly, and cosmic realms, with the divinely ordained seal potentially serving as the very catalyst for disclosure. And what of the anointed, those chosen for a specific purpose? Have these individuals appeared in various forms throughout history? Were they part of a larger program playing the long game? Have they overseen events during the beginning, middle, or end of each cataclysmic biotic crisis? Biblical references often point to prophetic texts entrusted to a select few long-gone prophets. However, what if this concept extends beyond them? Despite being disputed or possibly mischaracterized as false prophets, could those who claim further knowledge, experiences, and or insights from communing with God or other entities also be considered true prophets? Whatever your perspective on the matter, one thing may be certain: attempting to escape our course through our history may prove futile. Reflecting on episode 2, the impact of disclosure and the concept of everyone, everything, everywhere, overseen by an all-seeing being. Could it not be said that to truly experience the full spectrum of human emotions, intent, actions and processes, as well as the dynamic interplay of nature versus nurture, there must be an overseer or monitor embedded within the global framework? One who not only experiences but also records it all while walking among us. It could also be argued that life on Earth can be experienced through many different forms, whether as a leopard, a dog, a cat, a dolphin, or even a plant. Perhaps within this context, reincarnation may have served as a means for some of the anointed or even unanointed to continue their mission across the centuries. Though it could also be said that there have been many indications of severe misuse of such a structure, potentially for another topic for another time. So what of the unanointed? Where does this leave them? Which one could you be, anointed or unanointed? How will you know or even find out? This raises an important question. Do the unanointed by default align with opposing forces? And if so, do these opposing forces carry out their own form of judgment or repercussions? Could this also tie into what some may refer to as the mark of the beast, for those inclined to view it in such terms? There are many directions this could lead, but as mentioned in episode 2, other elements may be at play, from the guardians, the monitors, the called, as well as the anointed, angelic forces, and their opposites, God and all gods. This is Men in Black and the off-world and much more. What is the potential for the unanointed? Could the unanointed have the capacity for transformation or awakening, or is this not a factor? Or are they on an entirely different agenda? Perhaps through their unique experiences and or challenges, they offer an alternative perspective. Do the unanointed possess untapped potential that could be unlocked under the right circumstances or with the right guidance? Might the unanointed play an essential role in balancing the actions of the anointed, acting as a counterbalance and counterforce, or providing the other side of the narrative? In some cases, could it be that regardless of the role you're in, being unaware is intentional to prevent influencing, corrupting, or drastically altering outcomes? If that is the case, it also raises an even deeper question. If I am none of these, then who or what am I? Segueing into the condemned. From a biblical perspective, much has been debated and interpreted about the concept of heaven and hell, with suggestion that both have tangible locations. Heaven as a extraterritorial jurisdiction beyond the sky and into outer space, and hell as terrestrial, located within the sublevels and the bowels of earth. Whether these concepts are metaphorical or not, the idea has been used time and again to serve various agendas, both positive and negative. Condemnation can evoke a range of ideas such as a hell-bound experience, moral or immoral judgment, imprisonment, accountability, denial, and more. But does it always have to be that way? Could condemnation also be an opportunity for personal growth, requiring individuals to serve time through education, re-education, or improvement, addressing areas where understanding or skills were lacking? In this sense, condemnation might not always be a final or purely punitive state, but rather an opportunity for transformation or even evolution, where individuals are held accountable but also given the chance to develop. Suffice to say, condemnation doesn't always equate to the ultimate or final judgment. And in consideration of the roles of the anointed seal keeper and the authority behind enacting judgment based upon one's true character, could it be more accurate to say that we, in effect, either absolve or condemn ourselves? And if accountability indeed does have a baseline, then perhaps we are already in the process of facing the consequences of our choices. In final thoughts, if we are truly at the finale of an epoch shaped by our historical traits, narratives, and histories that have been corrupted, contrived, reversed, and controlled to mislead or keep us in line, would you have been part of the solution or part of the problem? Throughout history, there has been a clear effort to portray individuals, groups, communities, and even entire civilizations as backward, ignorant, or subhuman, often to serve personal agendas and or business interests, particularly by those who elevated themselves to positions of power over the many. But what if in truth these portrayals were driven by a fear of a greater superseding force? Have you ever considered the possibility that you may have been recycled into these questionable situations, different scenarios and cultures? Whether enforced or not, could there in fact be an ending of an imprisoned planet? Or would it be fair to say that what goes around comes back around? Regardless, with the continued maintenance of these infrastructures, it seems inevitable that this infrastructure will eventually become unsustainable. Have we now reached the point of no return? Thank you for joining me today on this journey. This is just the beginning. Keep reflecting, keep questioning, and stay curious. Until next time.